All right, now it's recording. All right, hey everyone, it's Noah. Here joined today with Inventory Pros USA. So we're gonna go ahead and get into everything. How'd you get into this, and then how'd you get into insurance in general?
Well, my dad was a big influence in my life,
Hmm.
and he recommended that I go into the insurance field when I was coming out of college at 21 years old. And before I even graduated, I had a job in the insurance industry working for a major carrier.
Okay.
And I've worked for major carriers as well as third-party administrators and government agencies over the last 32 years.
Okay. So in that time we kind of talked when before we got on, you said that throughout the time you had in the insurance agency or the insurance industry, then at that point you had like a side business in the
Yeah,
in,
I had a
and then you
side business doing personal property cataloging for insurance purposes. And it came into existence right after Hurricane Sandy.
okay.
And one of the things that I did was I did post loss
Okay.
claims at the time.
Mhm.
Now I'm saying, okay, before the next hurricane on Long Island or before the next major storm anywhere in the United States, get your home inventory now, catalog all your personal possessions so
Mhm.
that in case you have a claim in the future, you're already prepared.
Mhm.
Because if you're already prepared, then you won't have to go through hiring a public adjuster who takes 30% of your um, content settlement at least.
Mhm.
Now, that's not saying that at some point in time, isn't being, if the insurer is acting in bad faith, that you won't have to get a public adjuster. But we're trying to make sure that people don't have to spend $30,000 on a $100,000 contents claim
Mhm.
in order to settle their claim,
Okay.
because that's a lot of money for somebody out of pocket. When I only charge my fee, maximum amount is like, well, not maximum amount, but generally speaking, we have two price ranges. One is 1,500 for 40 items, and then there's a more premium pack, which would be up to 2,500. And if you have a mansion, we do it by a set fee schedule.
Okay.
Um, and really, this is something that many people who are wealthy really need to consider,
Mhm.
because they may have already paid off their mortgages and they don't think they need insurance, which is fine if you can afford to replace your whole house. If you have a fire, or if you can afford to replace every possession in your house if you have a fire. If not, you need to have the insurance. And that's one of the things that I learned, because as a renter, I didn't have insurance
Mhm.
on my house. I had a fire
Mhm.
and nothing was covered, obviously. And it really impacted me financially.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I will say is get a home inventory, make sure you have your policies in force, don't let them lapse, um, and always update the inventories, because that way you're so much better off than if you just, like people think, this will never happen to me. This will never happen to me. I'll never have a fire. I'll never have storm damage. I never have to worry about this. But you know what? We're turning into a society and we're getting into a situation where we have climate change that's drastically, like we're in I think it's an El Nino near year, which makes us much drier on land. And so we're going to have more droughts,
Mhm.
and that's going to cause more fires,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm looking for this as a long-term solution to a problem, not a short-term solution. So I realize that my business will take some time to grow,
Mhm.
but in the long run, I think that if myself and others within my industry really backed this. Like, say, if FEMA just turned around and said, hey, listen, people, part of your disaster preparedness should be getting a home household inventory
Hmm.
for your insurance purposes, that would be like a big boon to my business. So I've been lobbying for that.
So you kind of saw like an opportunity, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about why did you make? I guess that is your full reason why you made the jump. But when did you know was the right time? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs before they get started, they have it either as a side business, they're working on it a little bit, and then they finally want to take that jump. What would you say to them?
What would I say to somebody that wants to go and take their side hustle and make it their full-time job? I would
Yeah.
say if it's something you love to do it, because life was not supposed to be this devastating to some people.
Hmm.
So, like, I had to get to a point that I almost had nothing before I did my side business.
Hmm.
I think that people usually do a side hustle, um, and as they get sick of their regular job, they should try and transition to make it bigger and better.
Hmm.
And sometimes that takes a grander leap than just, grinding every day. You know, you got to go and plan and be a visionary,
Hmm.
but you also need to be able to act on that plan. So if anybody was interested in taking their side hustle to the next level, I
Hmm.
would tell them to start writing out a journal of what their plans and ideas are and their thoughts, and journal every day, every morning when they wake up, and listen to some of the podcasts or YouTube videos on even manifesting, because not that I believe in the sense that manifesting is an instantaneous miracle. It's
Hmm.
not.
Hmm.
But if you manifest with purpose, if you manifest saying, I am capable of starting my own business, I am capable of doing all of these things, then, and you write down your plan on how you would make your perfect business, well, now you've already done all the work while you were just journaling and having fun, creating some vision in your mind.
Hmm.
But it's that point that you decide, okay, I've got all my ducks in a line
Hmm.
and I'm going to execute on it. So while they're transitioning into getting their side hustle into something bigger, maybe through marketing, maybe through affiliate marketing, maybe through, um, you know, partnering with other people, maybe finding more side hustles that they need to do, that they want to do, projects. Like, I have a ton of projects that
Hmm.
I have in the back burner. Like, okay, while I'm doing the insurance work, I can also be, because I built my fee schedule so that I basically have a passive income. Okay, my fee for this is already built into the fee that they are being paid. So they pay one price, they pay it to the adjuster. He gives me a small portion, he gets majority of the money, and I get to sit home and he does the work
Hmm.
across the country, because I can't be every place at once.
Yeah.
If I had stayed small on just on Long Island, I could certainly have done it myself, but I couldn't branch out to Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, and then all of the counties upstate.
Hmm.
So I knew I needed a bigger plan. And that's what I did. I actually met my partner last May through a friend who was in the insurance industry. And um, I paid $10,000 into his app. His app is Adjuster app, and we're working diligently to make this the best company there is.
Mhm. So I know you're in New York. So how do you think it is? I don't know if do you get, you know, do you feel this at all? Where basically it's such a big city and you have so many other competition around you, or is it more of like you're working with everybody across the United States, so it doesn't
There,
really matter?
yeah, I'm looking at it that I'm working across the United States so that wherever there is a loss, I can just have an adjuster appear to take the inventory. And you know, I'm fine with that.
Mhm.
It's giving up a little bit of control
Yeah.
because I'm not doing the work myself.
Mhm.
So you have to really trust who you're working with, and I do.
Mhm.
And that's a very big important part, is that you need to trust who you're partnered with. And I think this was a very, as I say, symbiotic solution. He's my strategic partner, but we have created a win-win situation, or a win-win-win situation for me, him, the customer, and even the adjuster who may need to have a side hustle.
Mhm. So how did that partnership come about? How did you meet this guy who's all the way out in Texas?
Well, I told you that I have an issue with domestic violence in my past.
Mhm.
My ex was very, very bad,
Mhm.
and he financially starved us for 18 years. He
Mhm.
never paid a dime of child support.
Mhm.
And so he owed $370,000. And I knew that I was never getting that money. And ironically, my mortgage was $370,000. And my mortgage wasn't going to be paid off until I was 90. And I said, and the insurance industry was changing so much, I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I said, there has to be a better way
Mhm.
because I don't want to do this job anymore. And when I quit my job, uh, I was ecstatic, but people thought, she might be a little crazy. So for the business.
Mhm. So then I guess you reached out to him, and then from there, just kind of made sense.
Yeah. Yeah. He understood that I had PTSD, and that it dramatically affected my life. And then over the course of this last year, I was very sick. I was having pseudo seizures, which was caused by the PTSD. And so that delayed me until I basically ended up here after the fire loss that I just had a month ago.
Wow. So through all that, like, where have you found kind of the ways to keep going and the ways to like start? Because even entrepreneurship by itself can be very difficult, and it can be a lot of like ups and downs. So is it just because? Do you think it's because you've already experienced the ups and downs in your personal life, so then the business ups and downs just seem like it's nothing to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than abuse.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're able to that kind of takes me to one of the questions that I had. What was the most like interesting customer interaction that you ever had where because I have knocked doors in my past and I've had like guns pulled on me. I've had like crazy people that have gone crazy
I
on
have never had that kind of experience in my
yeah,
life.
nobody usually does. It's only door-to-door people that have those problems. But
I don't do door-to-door knocking.
yeah, I know you know. I know you know. But like, what was your?
Like after Hurricane Sandy, my first customer was a man who was a union official whose
Yeah,
house burned down.
yeah.
And I went into the burned out house
Mhm.
and had to go and pick through everything that was charred to come up with $100,000 in items, content items for his contents claim.
Mhm.
And so yeah, no, I've never.
So usually, customers are usually happy to see you, huh?
I'm not the person that I'm the person actually, because I wasn't a property adjuster. Darren is a very well-respected professional in the property claims industry. I was on the liability claim side,
Okay.
which, so all the claimants, they want me to come to their house. Nobody's pulling a gun on me. They're offering me cookies.
Okay, okay. So you were welcomed in. All right, awesome. So what was like the most like memorable interaction? Like, did you connect really well with somebody when you came to the house and they're like, I appreciate you so much? Like, what was one
Oh,
that
the very first person that I did it for was so appreciative. He gave me a check well above what I could have been paid.
okay, okay. And then he just was like, I appreciate you doing the service for me, so I wanna
Yeah,
give back to you. Oh my God.
yeah.
That's awesome. How do you think you like leverage technology in your business with everything changing?
Well, technology and me are not friends,
Yeah.
but um, I am learning every day. And I have a friend who's in marketing,
Mhm.
and he gives me tips and advice.
Okay.
And
Um,
Darren has given me immeasurable um, advice on that.
okay.
I don't believe in, see, when you talk about AI in the insurance industry,
Hmm.
it's used to flag fraud indicators. And I'm not a fan of that, because as I was going through all of my research over the last year, I realized that we have a problem in America, and we have a problem with ethics in insurance,
Hmm.
because um, back in the early 90s, Allstate, State Farm, and Liberty Mutual hired a consultant company called McKinsey and Co. Did you ever hear them?
Hmm.
They're a huge consulting company,
Hmm.
and they were advising Allstate, State Farm, and Liberty Mutual to deny claims regardless of the validity of the claim, because that was how they would improve their bottom line. And what that basically did was put people in a position that their claims weren't being covered even when they should be.
Hmm.
And it's just progressively gotten worse every single year since 1991. And the ones that are creating or causing the most crime or fraud within the industry is actually the insurers, who don't want to pay the claims that the person has paid premium into for the last how many years they've had since they've had a last claim. Most people don't make many claims, and the insurance industry is acting like everybody is making these fraudulent claims, and it has become a problem. But that's because they didn't do their job. They let down their policyholders.
So they're not doing their job. They're not fully
They're
co-
not covering claims.
yeah.
That they're, I mean, I think some of them have changed a little bit, but I've taken the weather from people in public, and nobody trusts their insurance company. They're not happy with the customer service. They're not happy with the fact that they can't get a hold of anybody. They're not happy when, their claim payments are cut for no reason, based upon erroneous information, or, so where was the question? Because I went off on a tangent.
Well, it was for like how did you leverage technology? I know you invested 10,000
Yes.
in
And that was all I had. It would have cost me $100,000 for that app.
yeah.
And I didn't, and that was what I said to this woman who was with me, and maybe we'll keep out the part about the psych ward. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but what that woman said to me when I told her I was looking to buy an app and spend $100,000 on it, she's like, I've got the perfect person who already has the app. And we came to a deal, and all I had to do was pay $10,000, and he modified his app for me.
Why Wait, so why did you want the app? It was just your idea?
No, my app was so that it could be a passive income. You
Okay.
know, the app would have been exactly what the app was originally designed so that people could do their own personal property inventorying. But then
Hmm.
I realized that there are a lot of people in the world that don't have the time, money, time or energy to do that.
Hmm.
You know, they have obligations with their families. They have people who are, you know, everyday life happens
Hmm.
and they might not be able to do their own inventory.
Hmm.
And we wanted to provide that service nationally because it's not that easy to find people that do this kind of work.
Hmm. So you want to make it
Um,
more accessible.
yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, other than that, it's been awesome speaking with you. I will go ahead put all of her these links in the description below, so you guys can go ahead and check her out. And then other than that, I'll catch you.
Okay. Thank
Cool.
you. Thank
And
you very much, Noah. It was a pleasure meeting you.